Welcome back to New York, Central Park. Hi, Malevsky here, and I'll be sharing another thought with you. Back in New York now. Just came back yesterday. It's great to be back. Oh, well, my mic. I'm gonna put it on right now. I hope that works better. Oh, Richard Bernstein. Awesome. Okay. Welcome, Richard, if that's really you. It's great to have you with us. I hope. Oh, Facebook just updated its app over here, and I don't know how to turn this around. So I hope you see me. Should be good. God bless you all. So, last week's Torah portion and this week's Torah portion have a very powerful passage that arguably is the most known passage to all Jewish people and perhaps in the world. The passage of the Torah that's, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." In Hebrew, it's Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. We could safely say that there's nothing more known in any Jewish circle more than that passage, and it's been said, unfortunately, countless times in times of trouble, and as the last words of every Jew, whether they pass on in a good way or not. So that's the first passage of the Shema. The second, and the passage of the Shema actually has three parts to it. There's the Shema Yisrael and Ve'ahavta, which talks about the love and fear of God, the mitzvahs of tefillin and the mezuzot, and our commitment to, and our commandment to study the Torah and transmit it to our children. That's the first chapter of the Shema. The second chapter of the Shema repeats all of the above and adds the concepts of reward and punishment. The third chapter of the Shema mentions the mitzvah of tzitzis, these little black white fringes that I'm wearing now, that men wear daily on the four-cornered garments to remember the mitzvot, and also talks about the concept that all the these mitzvot, the mitzvah to remember daily our exodus of Egypt, and that God took us out of Egypt, etc. So, today I'm going to focus on a seemingly similar passage between the two, in the first two chapters of Shema, and the Rebbe explains a difference between the two passages and their application in a very profound way. So, the Torah tells us in these two chapters of Shema, they say a seemingly almost identical passage, that we should recite the words of the Torah and teach them to our children, and recite the words of the Torah B'shivtecha b'veitecha, when you are sitting or resting in our homes, U'velechtecha v'derech, when you're going on your way, like right here in Central Park, New York City, or anywhere else you might be. U'veshachbecha, and when you lay down to sleep in the evening, U'vekumecha, and when you awake, when you rise in the morning. Technically, it tells us, this passage tells us that aside from all else, the practical application to the mitzvah is that we need to recite the Shema twice a day, also once in the morning and once in the evening. Aside from that, we also have the concept of teaching it and transmitting it to our children, and the Talmud also says that our children are also our students, include our students. So if one doesn't yet have children of their own, or God forbid doesn't at all have the children of their own, they're students. Anybody whom you have an effect on and teach becomes your child. So now, what is the difference between the twice repeated passage of reciting the words of the Torah and teaching them to our children? In the first passage, it says, I'll recite it first in Hebrew and translate it. It says, Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam. And you should teach them to your children, and you should speak them. V'shiftecha b'veisecha, when you're in your home, when you're on your way, when you go to sleep at night, and when you arise. So the words are, and you should teach them to your children, and you should speak them. In the second paragraph of the Shema, it says, V'limaditem osam es b'nechem l'daber bam v'shiftecha b'veisecha v'lechta v'derech, etc. And that translates as, and you should teach them to your children. V'limaditem osam es b'nechem, you shall teach them to your children l'daber bam, to speak of them, to speak the words of the Torah. So the Rebbe says that without careful attention, oftentimes people may confuse the two to mean the same thing. That you need to learn the Torah, you need to teach it to your children, and learn the Torah. But actually the Rebbe says that the difference is, in the first passage, the Torah is telling us that we should teach the Torah to our children, and we should speak words of Torah, unrelated to our children. We should always speak the words of the Torah. And in the second passage, the Torah is telling us, and we should teach the Torah to our children so that they will speak words of Torah, and they will continue the traditions onward, beyond us and beyond them. So the first one, again, in the Ahavta, in the first paragraph of Shema, it tells us, learn Torah, teach it to your children, and learn it yourself. Speak words of Torah. In the second paragraph, it says, teach Torah to your children, and teach them to speak words of Torah constantly, and teach it to others. Now, to wrap this up, the Rebbe says, who, when, and how. Who does this apply to? Says the Rebbe, this applies to everyone, male and female alike. Some might think that, or people who know the Jewish law, they know that there's a biblical obligation for men to learn Torah all the time, constantly. Whenever we have a free moment, males have the obligation to study Torah, not to waste their time with idle talk, of course not with detrimental talk. Women don't have that specific obligation to fill their time 100% with words of Torah. They have other obligations in which that release them from this specific time-bound obligation. So a person might think, okay, men and boys, males, have to be taught and trained to learn Torah, but girls were to speak words of Torah all the time, but girls not necessarily, females not. Says the Rebbe, no, it's for everybody, male and female alike. That's the who. Then there's the when. The Rebbe spoke these words in 1968, and the Rebbe said, the when begins immediately at birth, and sometimes even before, but especially immediately at birth, where the child has to be taught to speak words of Torah right away. First word the child is taught is Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe Marasha Kehilas Yaakov. God gave us the Torah through Moses, and it's our inheritance. It's all of ours to keep and to observe. And the Rebbe said, don't wait till your child's 18 years old and disappears from home and is found later in some form. These are the words the Rebbe used, of a Greenwich Village with the hippies, or lost with the hippies. And don't wait till then, but you want to ensure that your child will grow up to be a good person and a committed Jew. Not only, doesn't have to be only for a rebbitzin, for a rabbi's wife. It could be just to ensure that your child is is well taken care of throughout life, and teach them from childbirth and on. That was the when. And finally the how. How do we go about this? Says the Rebbe, oftentimes today we rely on the educational institutions, the schools, the yeshivas, to train our children, to keep our children, to teach them the ways of the Torah. But at home, it's important, says the Rebbe, that at home should be synchronized with that idea that when a child comes home, the child's parents should be also living in the most observant way and speaking words of Torah. And the Rebbe said sometimes people might think, okay, I'll teach it to my children. I'll talk the talk, but I won't walk the walk. I'll tell them what's right, but I'll do what I want. Says the Rebbe, children are very wise, and they pick up on this. And if someone talks the talk and doesn't walk the walk, says the Rebbe, the children pick up on this, and they follow the walk, not the talk. So it's important to talk the talk and to walk the walk, and to do this with enthusiasm. And finally, the Rebbe said, and when we teach our children about Judaism, it shouldn't be done in a quiet way, in a like hide your identity way. It should be done in a way where the child feels pride, great pride, to go out in the streets and claim his Jewishness or her Jewishness. Say, I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and I'll sing it out loud everywhere, wherever they are, and never to fear, ridicule, and to be proud of who we are. That's the story for today. I hope it worked, because I don't see the camera. God bless you all. I'm going to turn around for a moment. Still going. Thank you all for watching. I see some people there. Say hello to Richard, and Abigail, and Shlomo Yafi. What an honor. Really, everyone's an honor, but it's my brother-in-law. Great wise man. And Harvey, and Dove, and those who will come before and after. God bless you.